So weekend action vlogs don't happen without some weekday wrenching. I heard a little bit of noise coming from the front right wheel. After a little bit of investigation, I worked out that the lower ball joints were absolutely shot. There's like 2 or 3 millimeters of play. So anyway, I've never done this before, so I thought, hey, maybe I should do an instructional video. Normally, when doing this work, I would drink some beer and procrastinate. Tonight, I'm just gonna drink some beer and then get into it. So I reckon if I just undo these 2 shock absorber bolts at the bottom, undo the ones at the top, I've got a spring compressor, and I reckon that will bring up the lower control arm, line everything up a little bit easier, and it shouldn't be too difficult for me to get off. We'll see how well I go with that. Learning as we go. I could see that when I jacked the car up, all the suspension was on the wrong angle, and there was just no way that I was going to get it out. So I have a spring squasher that will get the suspension gear on the right angle. I had to take the shocker out first. Pretty simple. Mind you, I've been procrastinating for a while. Finished my beer. So I can say that there was a fair amount of procrastination. But, so here I have removed the shocker. I've got this very excellent spring squashing tool that you can see in there. So here we've got the top of the ball joint. Here's the sway bar. Oh, sorry, here's the sway bar. Sway bar has just gone through there, and this is the front support, all nice and easy to get off. So this is the lower control arm, and all I'm gonna have to do is undo up the top here, and then I'm gonna whack this ball joint bolt out. After just a little bit of swearing, we managed to get the lower control arm off. So now, unboxing, and in for the new one. I guess the question is there a left and a right? I don't know. Let's have a think about this. Alright, so one control arm was in last night. It took too long because I had too many beers and I was learning as I went, so probably not the best to try to follow my process there, but now I know what I'm doing. I'm going to step you guys through it one step at a time. So, step 1, the shocker, there's 2 bolts that sit at the bottom of the shocker, they have to come out. Is this little nut right there, there's one on this side, there's one on the other side, and then I can take the top of the shocker bolts out. So, I have worked out through hard-won experience that using a jack to move up the spindle and brake assembly gives you a better angle on the far nut. So the bottom of the shocker has 1 bush, 1 washer and 1 nut. Store them safely. So next thing is 1, 2, 3 nuts. Take those off and then the shocker can come out. Alright, moment of glory. Boom! So, next vital tool is this bad boy. We need to compress the spring so that we can manipulate the spindle. So, we have the bottom plate that you wedge in between the spring. This sits where the shocker used to be, and then you screw and compress the spring. So here we have the spring compression tool. It's right here. If we have a look at the top, it's that thing right there. We screw that on, it compresses the spring. So good news, this has been wound down. It's compressing the spring from up on the top of the shocker turret. Right here is the spring compressor and it's being pulled up that way. We can now manipulate the spindle and the rotor to get there's only a few bolts, but they're a little tricky to get to. First thing is first. So this support bar right here, it's got these 2 bolts, that needs to come off, and then there is the ball joint nut right there that needs to come off. A little bit hard to see, but with a bit extra light, there you go. So they are the next 3 things that I take off. and then it's the bolt through the lower control arm up here. So here we are with everything done. We've got the sway bar bracket all put on. We've got the support bracket nice and tight. We've got this torqued up, which is the top of the ball joint, and we've got a new control arm in down here. So we're looking good. The only thing that we have left to do is put the shocker back in the spring. Take out the spring compressor and put the shocker in, and we are looking golden. So good news, shocker tower back in, shocker back in, and done up right there. Now time to put the wheels on, and we are finally good to go. All of the ball joints have had grease pumped into them. We've had a last check of everything. I think we're good to go. Time for a test drive. So first impression is everything is looking, feeling and sounding pretty good. Some of you might have guessed that it's a little bit cold and dark outside, and yes, it's actually taken me quite a while to actually do this vlog. I actually changed the ball joints a little while ago. I wanted to break up my Jeep vlogs because I seem to be doing quite a bit of that lately, but as far as I can tell, winter equals Jeep and kind of weather equals classic cars and that sort of activity. So next week is another really hard Jeep trip, so that's going to be my second one that's really hard. Looking forward to that. This one's going to be a little bit different because last time I was pretty much the only newbie, I think. This time it's going to be all newbies, so that should be fun to video. In the meantime, I am just going to enjoy the fruits of my labour.